Hello, beautiful beings. We are on day 2 of Transcendence. I am so happy and delighted and honored to be here with you to go through day 2's training. We have got this beautiful workbook here. If you have not been in this Transcendence vortex yet, go to the guide section of Awaken Community with Victoria Bond and print off this beautiful workbook. There is 17 pages of goodness for you to go through and literally transmute, transform, and transcend. So in day 1, we went through the sacred self-service. We went through the 4 Ps, putting yourself first, pleasure, patience, and practice. And we went through them in this workbook so you could see where you're at and where you want to be. So the way that we did this was actually rate ourselves in the now. Okay. So we also went into rituals. So how can we create a sacred self-service ritual? So we can do this daily, even if we've got a busy life with kids around, whether it's a 2-minute ritual or whether it's literally a 2-hour ritual, there's ways that we can do things. So we talked about doing the whole temple thing. So making an altar, you can do this with using a tray. You can set this up somewhere in your house if you've got the space for it. And we also talked about creating a basic joy list, which is something that you can go to every day and do things off that joy list. So a sacred self-service can be something as simple as I've created myself a beautiful tea here. It's an Aphrodite tea, so it's full of herbs and rose petals and all sorts. And this is a self-service, a sacred self-service, because I'm honoring my temple. Okay. So welcome. If you are jumping on, make sure you come and say hello. Have you done day 1 yet? If not, do not fret. It is in the replays underneath the guide section. Now, I have created this Transcendence program in a special way. So I've done it in a special system, the way that the guides showed me when I channeled it on the beach. But if you miss a day because life is busy, don't worry about it. Just go back and catch up in your own time. And if you can come to the live, amazing. If not, just simply do it in your own time. So we are just clearing the space with some white sage and this beautiful feather that I found magically a couple of years ago when I was asking Spirit for a sign about the direction I was going in. And this just happened to show up straight away. Okay, this beautiful peacock eye. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yay, I can see that people are here, so let's get into this. Wow, well, today is about the nervous system, and I'm a little bit nervous about doing this. So I've been a bit nervous the last hour because the nervous system for me, I'm no scientist, I want to make that very, very clear, but I'm just going to talk from experience today. My nervous system was shot. So for me, this is a very delicate conversation because I'm always working on my nervous system. I'm always working on bettering and strengthening my body, my system. So my being, my temple can be showing up in a space of energy. So if you're jumping on, come and say hello. Let me know if you're here. Where are you coming from in the world? And is this your day 2, or are you just tuning in for the first time? I'd love to hear from you guys, and I'll be catching up on the chat over the next couple of days. So the nervous system, oh my goodness, is an extremely anxious, shy human, being me. My nervous system was pretty, I want to say, pretty shot by a very early age. By the time I was 12 years old, I was working, keeping up with school. I was a big sister, and I'm what we call a projector in the human design. I'm a classic projector, so I have no motors. So I have 80% less energy than 80% of the world, which sounds insane. But my nervous system, so it was pretty shot from a very early age. So I used to get really sick. I used to not be able to breathe. I'd be on nebulizers, steroids. By the time I hit 17, I was already hitting burnouts. So when I say this is a delicate subject for me, It's a subject that I'm going to continuously navigate, be curious about, and bring into my reality. And even today, as a 40-year-old woman who's had many, many burnouts, and that's why I do what I do, because I had a massive big breakdown, a massive big awakening, a massive big breakdown to breakthrough. Every day, I'm focusing on how to keep my nervous system regulated. Why is this so important when it comes to transcendence? I mentioned this yesterday. We are a body, we're a soul, and we are a spirit. And if my body is not grounded, if my body is going through massive big ups and downs with hormones, I'm coming into this, the hormonal part, the perimenopause, if I think that's what they call it. So, of course, my body and my hormones are shifting and changing. And this happened when I had children, and this happened when I first got my menstrual bleed, and this happens from a very early age because we're always shifting, always changing, always evolving. And this is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We're always changing, but we have to be able to regulate and hold ourselves. And this is why yesterday we talked about pleasure practices and bringing in so much more attention to ourself to fill up our cups before we fill up others, to be able to transcend beyond the mind means we need to be in our temple embodied. Okay. So in the last couple of years, yoga has become huge. Meditation has become huge. Ecstatic dance has become huge. Movement and grounding. Every second Facebook ad on my feed is about grounding systems. So today we're going to go through some of the basics to settle your nervous system, to calm yourself in, to ground so you can be this delightful, beautiful, divine human. It's very hard to transcend, to ascend, to shift, to bring up your vibration if you're not doing the 4 Ps we talked about yesterday, if you're not doing the basics that we're going to talk about today. I like to live my life in accordance to my blueprint and to my human, which means I often have to say no instead of saying yes. I've said no to 2 amazing invitations this week. And I'm like, oh my goodness, maybe they're going to stop asking. I've had so much on and I've been needing to regulate more than socialize. So owning that part of me keeps my nervous system settled. So how does this resonate with you guys? Are you a bit of a people pleaser and you're afraid to say no? Or are you good at saying, no, no, I need a rest, not going? Honestly, how good are you at that? Because I'm going to say, I can say no, but I still can feel a little bit guilty. I still have those old limitations of, oh, don't stop asking me, don't reject me, don't leave me out. Interesting. What happens if your nervous system is shot? What happens if you have burnout? Your body starts disintegrating. Your organs start shutting down. You start becoming fatigued, exhausted. We can get these chronic fatigues, fibromyalgia, depression. If we are not getting enough oxygen into our body, enough water into our body, enough pleasure into our body, if we are not allowing ourselves to ground, to align, we're going to start disintegrating as a human. That is not what we want to do. We create a dis-ease within our body because our body is going, help, help, help. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting anxious. I'm wanting to avoid. I'm wanting to shut down. I'm wanting to go into fight, flight, or freeze. And when we do that, our nervous system is getting a hiding. Some of us, like myself, I've had a 2-hour nap today. I had a 3-hour lie down yesterday. I've been to the beach every day. I have spas. I just had a really long shower and just massaged my body with oil. Why? Because it calms my nervous system. Touch calms my nervous system. Water, air, earth, the elements calm my nervous system. This is not something you want to bypass. You do not want to bypass this day 2 of transcendence, because what I'm going to share with you is some tips, tools, techniques, processes that you can add into your everyday life where you don't have to go and meditate for 3 hours, okay? Yeah, I've created a life by my design where I can do that And I love it. But most people are like, I don't want to do that. Like, I would rather go for a walk and keep on going, or half an hour is enough for me a day. We're all different beings. Okay. So, massage, breath, dance, grounding, water magic, actually. We're going to go into some of these things today, and I'm going to share with you the top techniques that I use. And I have worked with coaches and oh my goodness, people that work with the parasympathetic system, the nervous system. Just spent the last 24 hours with a coach who works with all the body. She's got the science brain, and she taught me a technique to teach you. She told me about 6 months ago, and I've been using it for my running. I've been using it for my calming. It takes literally 10 seconds type of thing, maybe 30 seconds. And it's just as scientifically effective as a 20-minute or even longer meditation. So I'm going to share that with you today, and it's a game changer. So we're born and we're relying on everybody else for nurturing. We are pretty vulnerable when we are born, and we're pretty vulnerable now, right? We're at the mercy now of our own nurturing. But no one really taught us how to nurture. Maybe you were lucky. Maybe you got a parent that did teach you how to nurture yourself. But I got told to get out of the mirror. I got told to go look after siblings. I got told to get a job if I wanted the nice things in life. And my parents are amazing. I love them. But I was never taught how to self-settle myself. Even as a baby, I was like, you do the crying it out. I had colic. I had reflux. My mum said, you were the most terriblest baby, but you were the best toddler, because by the time I was a toddler, I taught myself how to behave so I could survive in this family. And that was by being a good little girl. And I have ridden that story until now. The good little girl who says yes to being whatever you want me to be. Oh my God, where have you been the good little girl? Where were you the terrible baby? Do you know what a terrible baby is? A terrible baby is an empath, a baby that is empathing on their mother because you were directly tied to them. And my mum was an emotional wreck when I was a baby. And I won't even go into it too much, but let's just say it was the loneliest time of her life. It was the hardest time of her life. She didn't know what the hell to do with her baby. She had no license. She was stuck in a town where her parents were 6 hours away. Good Catholic girl, couldn't go home. She had to stay within the bed that she had made. And I don't say this to, you know, put my mum down, because she's brilliant, and she ended up having another 4 children, and she's happy as Larry, and my parents are still together, and they're all the things happy. I say it because I felt it. I've had visions and memories of being in a cot and screaming because I could feel my mum's emotions. She's an emotional generator. I am an empathic. I am like literally an empath and a projector. I felt everything from the minute I was born. What happened to you in the first 3 years of your life? If you know how you react with the people that looked after you, you can literally tie it to your behaviors now. And I know that I freak out if anything is kind of going on. So I have to calm myself and my nervous system. We all have triggers, right? If we know what those triggers are, then we can support ourselves with solutions. How does this resonate with you? What did you have to do for love when you were younger? Were you shy when you were younger? How did you train yourself when you were younger to fit in for survival? So going back to what I said, we relied on nurturing of others, and sometimes that fell short. Not our parents' fault. It was just life, and we weren't taught how to nurture ourselves. Okay? So the good news is we can heal. The good news, we can heal from this. And I went from severely depressed and going to the doctors, begging for medication and having spirit harass me, right? I'm a medium. I teach mediumship. But it started with a healing process of myself and trying to navigate what the heck was going on and what did I actually believe? Who did I believe I was actually? What was going on with my body? It was severe burnout. No one told me about that. Doctors didn't pick up on that. It was literally like, get over it. You look fine. So many of us have been going through this, and so many of us need to deeply heal our guts as well as our minds, our entire bodies. And then we have a stronger spiritual connection, right? The third eye, so we can literally start doing our mediumship more. We can start being more of our spirit because our temple is looked after. Okay, so reclaiming your birthright to success by owning all parts and taking responsibility for your body, your soul, and your mind. That is transcendence. So, what does nurturing mean to you? We've got this workbook here. What does nurturing mean to you? Spend some time with that. Nurturing to me is touch, senses, feeling. Nurturing is cuddling up on the couch for me. It's not coffee and wine and sugar. It's not yo-yo dieting, stress, carbs, anxiety. All of those things is not nurturing. That's like the opposite end of that. What am I doing for survival? Coffee and wine and running. I'm going to run to get that weight off. I'm going to run like someone's trying to get me. There's a tiger behind me. Oh, thank God I got rid of a couple of 100 calories. Now I'm going to go have a couple of glasses of wine or some chocolate. Nervous system, right? Again, I'm not a guru when it comes to our bodies. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a PT, but this is my experience. How can you be more present while nurturing yourself? Again, having a shower. Afterwards, I just put oil all over my body. And I was like, this feels so good. And I can smell this. And I'm not in a hurry. There's no emergency. Taking time to nurture yourself. Okay. So number one is the breath. I'm going to share with you some techniques now. Okay. So I want you to be able to write these down if they resonate with you, or come back to this practice, come back to this session and pause it and write it down. And I'm going to share them with you. There's literally like 5 things I want to share with you right now, just on number one, which is the breath. Now, the breath is so important. And in my experience, the fight, flight, or freeze, what happens if I'm freaking out? What happens if somebody just attacks me or rejects me, or I feel like my existence is in jeopardy? I start going, I'll say to my husband, even if I start, I don't have enough time in the day to get all these things done, and the kids need this, and then I want to do some work, and because someone asked me to do something, and I don't want to say no. And he's just like, okay, breathe. And I'm like, I can't breathe. I'm shallow breathing. This happens to me right to this day. We create anxiety and panic attacks from not being connected in with our life force, which is our breath. When I start hustling, I stop breathing. I've got to stop. And breathe. So, daily breathing, you need to check in every day. You need to check in. This is what I do in my memberships. This is what I do in my containers. What is your breath doing right now? And remember what I said yesterday? How now? So maybe do that now. How now? How are you feeling? Just tapping in for the next couple of moments. How are you feeling with your breath? Are you feeling hustled? Are you feeling relaxed? What is your breath doing? Just take note of that. Pop it in the chat box. How are you doing right now? Before we get into this breath, you can change your attitude. You can change your body. You can change your energy. Quick. What stories are we telling ourselves? Where are we at now? Where do we want to be? And how do we get there? What's the solutions? We start with the breath. This is the one that my friend taught me. And she reminded me today when I said, hey, I'm doing Transcendence. What is your top breath? And she said, sniff, sniff, exhale. Exhale longer than the breath in, breathing in through the nose, sniff, sniff. Boom. Energy. I do this when I'm running. And I'm like, I'm getting fatigued. Maybe I should stop running right now, because I like to train for half marathons. I love the endurance. I love to push my body. I love the discipline. I'm getting tired. Maybe I should quit. I do this 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I'm like, oh my God, where's the chocolate, man? I need some energy. 3 times. Sniff, sniff, exhale. Why is this so important? Because not all of us can stop in the middle of the day and do a 20-minute meditation. Not all of us can do the breath that I'm going to show you next, which is my favorite, of course. But I don't do it daily because I forget, because it's going to take 20 seconds, not 5 seconds. Okay. Sniff, sniff, exhale. The next one is 4, 6, 8. Breathing in for 4 through your nose, hold for 6, exhale for 8. Again, in for 4, hold for 6, and exhale for 8. Beautiful breath. Calms the nervous system because the exhale is longer than the inhale. And then we're not running going, the tiger's going to get us. We're like, you know what? I can just keep running. And I use this philosophy when I've done 3 half marathons. And when I ran them, whoever I'm running with is like, how are you running and talking for 21K? I pretend I'm not running. I pretend I'm not being chased by a freaking vampire or a tiger. And I think that I'm on a little stroll, like literally like I'm a mermaid going for a swim. And I breathe in through my nose and I go, ah, and I just keep talking. My nervous system isn't freaking out. So therefore, my hormones are not going to freak out either, right? So 4, 6, 8, do that 3 times. When I do this and when I recommend this to do with people to do this, I say stand on the ground. And you can actually add a yoni breath into this, okay? So when you're standing on the ground, and I'm going to go through this with you very soon, I'm so excited to tell you why it's so important to put your bare feet on the ground and how to do it. There's actually a difference and something very important that you need to know. So make sure you keep watching. So with the 4, 6, 8, I stand on the ground. I prefer the grass, okay? The grass is really, really good at being a conductor. And what I do is when I breathe out, I imagine my yoni opening up and spreading light. So I breathe in for 4, hold. So it's near like third eye gaze. I'm holding it up here. And then when I breathe out, out my yoni, visualizing, letting go of all, transmuting. We transmute to transform, to transcend, right? And then I'm like, oh, wow, that felt good. My yoni is relaxed. My chest is relaxed. My jaw is relaxed because I'm opening my mouth. Okay. So the next one, breath work. Okay. So there's active breath work. This is what I do in my Spiritual Magnificence membership. Every 6 weeks, we have a breath work. Why? Because I want to get an influx of oxygen into my organs. When I first did this, I started getting this, everything was clenching up when I was doing this active breath work. And I was like, what is happening to me? And I was getting tingles and I was getting, what is it called? Like pins and needles and stuff because my body had been going for so long and not the deep, deep breathing. So like 35 minutes to 40 minutes of breath work with music and emotions and being led and stuff is so transformational. Like there's so many ways of doing breath work and there's many guides and facilitators that do it. So finding your own way of doing breath work, and I recommend doing it once a month. I would do it every 2 weeks and it shifted my entire nervous system. Okay. Next one is fire breath. Okay. So have a drink. Make sure you have a drink. I'm going to whip through these because you can go do your research, and I hope you're writing down about your breath and what is resonating with you. So make sure you put it in the chat box. What are the things that are resonating with for you, that all the reminders that you're having to go back to? So fire breath is it's like a kundalini. They do a kundalini, and it's something that I recommend you look up, that you go online, go into kundalini yoga breathing. And it's very much about getting energy. It's about fire. Okay. So I'm just going to my tongue out. When you're doing it, you're pumping your belly. Okay. So out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. And when we do this in Kundalini, there's many different ways that you can do it with your body as well. I'm not a Kundalini teacher, so I'm not going to go into it too much. I just wanted to give you this offering of doing this. So if I've needed to get the fire igniting because my energy system has been low, it's like the fire will burn away the old. So it's very much Yeah. And just a little cough there. When you do this, and I believe it's for about 90 seconds, please do your own research. Whoa. I'm even feeling hot just by doing that now. Okay. So fire breath. I'm sure that we may have some Kundalini teachers here, so feel free to let us know, please. Amazing. Absolutely life-changing. And of course, the yoni breathing is the last thing I wanted to talk about. And there's many different ways of doing this as well. The one I do is I breathe in, and as I'm breathing in, I'm pulling up my yoni. I'm pulling up my all of my sexual organs, and I'm bringing it up, and I'm holding, going to my third eye gaze. So everything's always about lifting with the nervous system, not dumping, right? Unless you're transmuting and you're doing that. You're not like breathing in and you're like you need to breathe in and breathe up, right? So we're lifting all of those chakras and connecting in with source consciousness and the earth, because this is your temple, this is your portal. So you're breathing in, bringing up the yoni, the sex organs, bringing it up, breathing in, third eye gaze, and then as you're breathing out, uh, relaxing the yoni. Doing that a few times. Wow. And you can do the opposite as well. So as you're breathing in, you can relax the yoni. And as you're breathing out, you can bring it up. Doing this while you're moving your hips around, this is really great for your pleasure practice. While you are like maybe having a cacao, maybe some nice music, maybe some like, oh, beautiful, like feathers. And then when you're doing this, and you can hear the crack in my voice, like the more you do it, the more aligned you become, the more smooth it becomes. It's like singing in the shower. At first it's like, and the next minute it's like, because you're actually balancing the chakra system. How is this resonating with you? What are you reminded of? What are you loving? What do you want to try? Pop in the chat box. Let me know what you want to try. Okay. I'm really excited. So how is your breathing? And what breath work are you willing to bring into your everyday life? When I'm going like a little puppy dog, I'm like, oh shit, okay. I've possibly overworked. I haven't grounded enough. I haven't taken the time out for myself, or I haven't been out of my head. Maybe I don't work for 3 days, but maybe I'm in my head and I'm still on. So I need to turn myself off. This is what I did today. I've been off since yesterday in Transcendence day 1. I've been off nurturing. I've been doing a massive big breakthroughs, cacao ceremonies. I've been through the forest. I've been on the beach 3 times since I saw you since yesterday, and I've had 2 naps. You know what I mean? So it's very much about turning off, because when we're on all the time, we're not getting a break. We're still working, even though we're not working. Okay, the touch. Touch, oh my God, as infants, we are held. If we were lucky enough to have a mother or a caregiver who wanted to touch us, back in the olden days, it used to say in one of the manuals about looking after babies, your baby's crying, put them under a tree. They love fresh air, leave them alone to self-soothe. Babies are not meant to be self-soothing. Babies are crying because they need a connection, they need love, or they are empathing on you. So if we were lucky enough to be able to be on our mothers a lot, and my children were always on me, okay, like always on me. And because I had a really hard time with my second child, he would cry every hour of the night and day to be on me because he was trying to heal me. I didn't know this at the time. I just thought I had this needy baby. But the point being is touch is so important. Very, very important. And there is scientific proof that if you weren't touched enough as a baby, then your brain does not develop. It doesn't. I saw this on Dr. Phil the other day, actually. So the brain looks completely different and the blood isn't getting to the brain like it needs to. So we stop touching as we get older. We're told, don't touch yourself there. That's dirty, right? So we're not allowed to explore our own body, most of us. It's like, don't do that or don't touch that or no, naughty. Like, we start getting in trouble from a young age. And I understand we need boundaries and standards, but it became unsafe to touch for many of us. unfortunately, our old and those who are single and don't have children often are not getting touched much. And I see this in my with my own family members that they might not see people for weeks on end. No one's touching them. And this is so sad. We see this in old folks' home and thank goodness they have caregivers and most of the caregivers are lovely and they'll touch them, but we need to be hugging. And my own story is I used to go up to my best friend and I'd hug her and I'd hold her. I'd hold her and she'd always pat on the back. So this is in our early 20s. I was like, hey, I was a real hugger. I would hold people heart to heart. So you want to do like your left side to their left side and you hold it. So you're actually connecting in heart to heart when you do left to left. Anyhow, I would hug her and she'd be like, ugh, yeah. I ended up adopting that behavior. And I noticed it with my friend who came and stayed this weekend. She gave me a hug and she held me, right? We've got a very deep connection. She held me and I held her and I went, pat, pat, pat. And I remembered, no, feel it. I said to her, I need another hug. So she got out of her car again and I held her because I remembered I changed the pattern from when I was in my 20s that it's not safe to hug someone deeply. It's not safe to get too close to somebody for whatever reason. This has to stop, and we need to acknowledge that humans need touch. So we're going to do some touching techniques in a second for ourselves, okay? So the world has had separation. Stand 2 feet away from people. The supermarket has been like, stand on this dot. Don't get too close. The separation was so profound. I don't know if that's the right word, extreme, that it was like, stay away from her. And I had to experience, like many other people, the separation that we've had to have, the isolation. And this has hurt the human race. So I'm inviting you to bring this back in. Now, yesterday I experienced a young adult, I would say maybe a 16-year-old, hit a car. Said to Luke, stop the car, let's go help that boy. He was having a freak out. His nervous system was shot. He was going, I'm sorry. And I was like, I need to help this boy. So I put on my mum hat. Luke was like, oh my goodness. He could have figured it out. I was like, no, I need to help him because I can see he's glazed over. And I touched his shoulder a couple of times and said, hey mate, it's okay. It's okay. I doubted myself after that. I touched a stranger's shoulders and we're not used to touching people. What has happened in this world? Today, just because I'm going through Transcendence with you, I said to a little boy, my son's best mate, who's here often, said, could I please have a hug? He said, yep. I held him. I say to one of my friends' daughters who comes over, hello, can I have a hug? I'm starting to bring more touch in. I'm asking for consent, right? May I give you a hug? I'm noticing the reactions. I do this with my dog. If the dog puts his head towards me, he wants to be touched. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I leave him alone. We need to start using our senses and start bringing ourselves closer together because humans we are our own creatures, okay? We are tribal. So how often do you touch others? How often do you touch yourself? Where do you not allow yourself to touch yourself? Now, when we're talking about our pleasure centers, if you will, it's how many people have felt shamed about self-pleasuring? Even just the gentle touch, even just the real gentle, soft touch. We have bypassed the sensuality and made sexuality something where it has to look a certain way rather than actually being this feminine energy. So here's some techniques for you. The first one for the nervous system of touch is, I learned this in a projector program that I did. I want you to do it with me, just gently opening the jaw if you want to and massaging down the lymph nodes here. We can have this with those, those, can't remember what they're called, but those crystals, they're like the heart crystals, and you bring it down. So we're bringing that in a lot more. I have one of those, but I just use my hands because I lose objects all the time. just down like this. And I do it down and then I just go down and out, okay, to like drain it. So you can go along here if you want to. But often if I'm feeling stressed or like, oh God, I'm starting to do the whole freak out, fight, flight, or freeze, Victoria, stop, breathe, touch, ground, okay? Down like this. Oh, it feels so good. Can you feel it? And it drains. It drains down. We can go up and down, above the brow. It's very, very calming. The other thing I've done is if I've ever been stressed, I hold my hand there, especially if I've had like a breakdown or a freak out. This calms me very quickly. I slept for years with an eye mask that covers up here because I felt like this was too sensitive, especially as I was awakening. Okay. So at the very beginning parts of it. So feeling up here, do it with me. How does that feel? Oh my God, I just feel so much calmer just being here with you guys doing this. And then down here, just following those cheek lines, okay? And then you can go down here and doing this. Just do what feels good. Again, you can Google this stuff. I'm no guru on this. I'm just sharing my life experience here. Oh, it feels so good. I love the back of my neck. I love to rub. This is where the nervous system is in the neck. I love to roll and rub my neck. I could talk about this for days on end. Here is all about expressing yourself, speaking, stepping forward onto the platform, opening the curtains, taking a bow, showing up. This is so important. And I've always had neck issues, always. So sometimes just holding the back of your neck in the front of it, wearing a skivvy if you're feeling sensitive, or a scarf. I wore a scarf for a couple of years as well when I was doing this because I felt so vulnerable. Okay. So when I was working on my nervous system. So another one of the things is you can do is you can touch. It's so important. Petting, stimulating. Okay. Doing this. Tap it. This is the thymus. The thymus is where we fight viruses. This is like the second, third eye, which we shut down when we're teenagers. So we shut down a lot of our senses. Tapping it. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. You can do this when you're driving. I haven't done this for ages. It just came into my mind because I did it for years. Boom, boom. I could barely touch this when I was first awakening, when I was having these burnout breakdowns, breakthroughs. I was like, oh, so many people are like, oh, don't touch my neck. You know, my mum's always like, oh, I hate anything too high. But now I can touch it and I can feel the vibration. You can just tap it like this while you're driving even. Boom, 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 boom. Activate this thymus. Okay. What else did I want to share with you there? Just the hand massage. Oh my God. Or the feet. My feet used to be like these tender, oh my goodness. I could barely touch my feet. I used to be on my feet in high heels, hairdressing, 40 hours a week, late nights. It was crazy. And I would have these massive calluses on my feet, like on the bottom of my feet, just under my toes. And they couldn't be touched. Like I was in so much pain. I couldn't even touch my feet. This is pre-children. So I was burning out. My nervous system was crazy. I would have so much pain in my feet, but your pain in your feet, like reflexology, it's in your hands, it's in your fingers, it's in your feet, self-massage. But why have we been told not to massage ourselves? Why have we been told, ooh, feet are gross? We've got all these opinions and limitations, mistaken beliefs that other people have put on us, right? It's a collective thing because the world doesn't want us to wake up to be these superhuman beings. They want us to conform, okay? You need to nurture yourself. You need to work on your nervous system to be a superhuman because you are human, okay? So, yeah, how often are you touching yourself? How often are you pleasuring yourself? Are you comfortable with touching all parts of your body? If not, why? Where did that stem from? Who does that belong to? What are you willing to do? How much pleasure and nurturing and soft touch are you willing to bring into your world? Are you willing to bring touch more into your life? Like I just said, And how will you do this? I want you to write that down. How will you do this? I've got 2 more. I'm going to whip through these. I appreciate your patience for being here. Grounding. Interesting fact about grounding. I used to walk on the dry sand often because I was like, I don't want to get my feet wet. Oh, I just walk on the dry sand. Oh, I just go sit on the beach for 5 minutes. And now every day, Luke and I have like at least an hour business meeting and catch up, like a husband and wife catch up, friend catch up, parent catch up, business meeting. Sometimes we're like, okay, we need to focus on one thing today, Victoria and Luke, because we are so many things to each other. And we walk in the water on the wet sand. We walk from the car park on the grass in bare feet. We usually stand on the grass for a little bit. Then we go down to the beach. We have our coffee. We walk along the beach. We go to different parts of the beach. We walk back. And my husband said to me, it's so much better walking on the wet sand because it's a better conductor. So therefore you connect to the earth more because it's wet. The salt and the wet sand, so the water, the salt in the water is literally so much easier as a conductor. We can connect into the earth more than the dry sand. The other thing is going for a walk on the beach with shoes on, with rubber soles, it stops. You think about an electric fence. You can put your gumboot on the electric fence and not get a shock, right? But if you put your bare foot on, you're going to feel it. It's probably not the best example, but if we are wearing shoes on the beach, you could be walking on the road. It doesn't matter. Like, you need to have the bare feet to actually do the grounding. Today we went for a walk through the forest, through so much kawa and native trees, and it was the most beautiful experience. We went bare feet. I think my son wore shoes, but we wore bare feet, and then we walked back on the beach. Because I've been through a massive transformation in this Transcendence program already, because I'm going through it with you. I'm up-leveling and transcending. So I've got to stay very, very grounded and do the work I need to do. Say no to things, drink water, which I'm going to go into in a minute, have a very clean diet. I don't feel like much today, so I'm going to have like living food tonight. I'm going to eat living real salad and stuff because I feel like I need light debating food. So how grounded are you? How often are you putting your feet on the ground? And how often are you putting your feet in the water? How often are you going into the forest, touching trees, tapping into maybe the different plant medicines, the cacao and the mushrooms? Mushrooms have gone crazy at the moment, all these different types of mushrooms you can add into your coffees. How often are you connecting into these different collectives that we have here on Earth? How often are you looking up and noticing the birds and listening and using your senses and all of your different senses, your vision, your taste, your hearing, your smell? It's all very grounding. Or are you just floating around in your head? I don't want to be in my head. I want to be in my heart. I go to my head because I'm human, but then I learn to come back in to my heart. Okay. So too many of us have been detoxing, but I just need to watch Kardashians. I just need to watch. I do this too, right? I just need to watch some crappy TV just to switch it off, be programmed. Or, oh my God, I deserve a wine. Give me the frickin' bottle. Or, oh my God, I need a coffee because I'm tired. I had a coffee today because I was like, wow, I feel whacked. So I had one coffee and I made sure I drank a lot of water as well. But substances, where are we escaping and bypassing rather than I'm going to ground, I'm going to sit quietly on the grass, I'm going to read a book, and I'm going to find a space under the trees to watch my kids play at the park? Where are we not doing the simplicity? Where are we overcomplicating? What is coming up for you now? Pop it in the chat box. What can you add? Or are you doing all these things? Do you have more suggestions? Let us know. So what are the ways that you can ground daily? What's going to work for you? That's the most important thing. What is going to work for you? Because I had to just start with a meditation and standing on the ground for like 5 minutes a day. That's all I could do. That's all I had the capacity to do. I was passing out unconsciously, trying like falling asleep during the meditations, couldn't stay awake, because I was so burnt out. And over the last 8 years, I've really built my nervous system and my gut health and my vitality and all the things. So if I have a sleepless night, it's not the end of the world. I do catch up quickly rather than taking 2 weeks to recover. What are some of the new ways that you would like to try out to add into your daily sacred service? Your sacred self-service. What would you like to add in? Maybe it's fire breath or the sniff, sniff, exhale or the 4-6-8, or maybe it's the touch. Another one for touch real quick is pulling out your ears. Again, reflexology points, rubbing your ears and pulling them out. At first, it's kind of uncomfortable, gets everything moving. It really, really does. So rubbing your ears and pulling your ears out every day for a couple of minutes, okay? So much more I could share with you, but I'm noticing our time. So the next one is diet. Let's get real. What is your diet? And where are you trying to have this perfect diet? Do you know how many people are stressing because they're counting their macros, their calories, calorie deficiencies, not getting enough protein? Again, a 40-year-old woman here. I need to watch my protein. I need to watch my fiber. I need to watch my water. Water is everything, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. But like, how many of us are literally poisoning ourselves with our thoughts about the food, beating ourselves up for the binge? Or how many of us are like, I have to be organic. I have to do this. I have to do this. Like, I've got to be doing everything the medical medium is saying and actually creating more havoc in our nervous system. We are healers. We are energetic beings. Our first language is energy. And this can be poison for you or it can be magic. What energy are you going to put into it? Hate or love? Frustration? This is a pain in the ass having to drink this water. Or, oh my gosh, I've got this magic elixir. This came from the tap. I've got filtered water inside. This came from the tap. I will Reiki it now. I will love it. I'm just kind of putting, water and diet together here. So make sure you look at your book here. Love and light. This water is my magic elixir. It is healing, angelic water. Feeling the heat coming. Oh my God. Amazing. Another time with my food, we're out for dinner and Luke and I were having the most beautiful dinner. It was like this 5-course meal with little tiny bite-sized things. So it's like delicious. It was quality, not quantity. You're usually hungry and Luke would get a Big Mac after. Anyway, the guy came along and he was telling us, this is in there, this is in there, this is in there. So it was this whole tasting thing. And he was pointing at my food. His finger was nearly in my freaking food, as well as the wine and this wine and this one. And I looked at Luke and I was like, he just like poisoned my food or something. He's like pointing at it. So I sat there, and I went like this. So what are you doing, babe? I was like, I'm Reikiing my food. I'm cleaning it because that man was like, pew, pew, pew. And I don't know if he was really happy working at their restaurants. I was like, I don't want those vibes in my food. I am what I eat, right? It's really interesting. So how is your current diet? Do you need to fast or do you need to eat all the time? My friend today, she doesn't need to eat first thing in the morning. She can wait until lunchtime. She eats between sometimes like 10 and 5, and that's her window of eating. And she's a health guru, so she literally knows what she's doing. She said, don't you do that though, Victoria. You can't do that. I have to eat as soon as I get up. I had a headache because I didn't eat soon enough today. I have to eat first thing in the morning. I have to have something morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, and usually something afterwards. Because, well, my job, I'm very energetic as a channel, but it's just the way my body is. So am I eating living food? Am I eating enough protein, enough fiber, and enough water? So, so important. So everyone's different. I'm gluten-free. I can tolerate dairy. My sisters cannot. Getting a hair test or actually noticing what makes your tummy rumble or what you're craving rather than thinking, what is this person telling me to eat? Get the fundamentals so you're not yo-yoing because that screws your hormones as well as your nervous system, okay? Okay, so last but not least, water. Water is magic. water is magic. We've got over, what, 60%? I think it's between 55 and 75. I don't know about that. Everyone says different things. Of water. Our brains are about 80% water, I believe. And we're just not drinking enough water. I'm constantly telling my kids to drink water. Excuse me. Wow, some releasing there for the earth, because even our systems in the world, when we're buying water, there's a control system over water. Have you guys noticed that? There's a lot of control systems over water. Who owns the water? There's a whole owning of water. Wow. So water, herbal tea, water has been made this pain in the ass thing when actually it is a healer. Like I just said, this water is delicious now because I've just blessed it. I can't wait to drink it in a moment. You know, did your parents tell you to drink water when you were little? My husband just said before, I used to get wicked headaches when I was a little kid. My parents never told me, or not that he remembers, to take a water bottle when I went out for day adventures. Wherever I go, I've got 2 big water bottles, and my kids are like, "Where's the water, Mum?" And they're sculling it. Otherwise, we all go, because our brains are dehydrating. And I'm all every day, "Luke, how's your water intake going?" Or, "Oh my goodness, I'm so thirsty. I need to drink some water." "Hey kids, did you drink any water today?" Because I know hydration is going to work on my bones. It's going to help me in my brain. Otherwise, I'm useless without water. Also, in rebirths and up-leveling, and blessing of the world, if we're a light worker, we go into the water and our vibration, it's a conductor. It goes around the world so we can help heal the world by standing in freaking water. The tide, the in and out, the moon, everything's affected. Whatever water it is, see it as a blessing. It is, I can't believe we don't do more water magic. It's something that I'm looking into. We can use water for spells, like all the best type of spells, obviously, for healing, for the energy of baptism. As I go through a rebirth, I dive into the water. A new season, a cleaning off. I've done a lot of work in the last 24 hours working with you guys, so I'm going through it too. So I've had spas, showers, and been to the beach 3 times to put my feet in the water because I need to cleanse, I need to transmute, I need to transform, to transcend. Water. What is your relationship with water? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I know my grandma and my aunties have never really drunk much water. I find that very bizarre. My auntie drinks out of a cup this big, that's tiny, tiny little cup. See, how much water do you drink? Oh, I don't really drink water. How do you live? How are you not dead? Like, it fascinates me. We can live without food for a long time, but we cannot live without water. Okay, so the magic elixir, the hot and the cold, like people are doing these cold plunges. They are, using water in their, in their steam, like when they're having these saunas, they're sweating it out, drinking lots of water, having cold showers, going back in, all working on the nervous system. Okay, I think that is it for today. I hope I have given you information on your nervous system. There is a whole lot of information on the internet for you to go and regulate. The biggest thing is, though, is we don't want to get all nervous and I want to get it right and I'm freaking about my this and this and this. It's keep it simple. And that's what I've done in this workbook for you is I've tried to keep it extra simple so you can have a look and see where you're at. I recently did this whole fitness and food like nurturing like for 12 weeks. I did it at my local gym and I had to write down what I was eating every day. And I didn't notice until I wrote down, oops, I cheated today. I had a slice. Oops, at 3 o'clock I had a bag of chips. Oh, whoops, I had some bliss balls and sugar. Oh, I had this. I realized that every day at around 3 o'clock, I was like, I need some sugar. I need some sugar. Oh, wait, I need some sugar because I don't drink coffee. So I was like, oh, man, I really, really need something. And we were like, oh, my God, I didn't realize the pattern until I wrote it down. So if you write it down, you will go, oh, it comes out of the subconscious and you go, I didn't realize that I was self-sabotaging and I've been getting headaches because I don't drink enough water, or I'm not moving my body. We haven't even talked about moving yet, or I'm not grounding. So no wonder I'm all like this, or I'm watching all this TV to click off rather than actually doing breath work. What can you do to help heal your nervous system? Are you touching yourself? What is your relationship with your body? Are you loving her? Or are you like, oh, you old hag? Like what are you doing? What pleasure practices are you doing? We're going to be bringing this all in together. And tomorrow we're going to talk about communication, because communication with spirit guides, communication with loved ones, communication with self and the earth and all of the different planets, all of us is so important. So make sure you come back tomorrow for day 3 of Transcendence. It is so important for us to communicate. And in my coaching world and in Magnificent Mediumship and in my membership, it always comes down to communication. Always, because we're human and that's what we're here to do. Have a wonderful day. Pop down in the chat box what the number one thing is that you got from this session today, and the one thing that you're going to action. Okay. Action is so important. Listening, writing it down, taking action, and go speak it out to someone. I'm going to do this. Like, go grab your daughter and say, this is a breath. Let's start doing this. So me and my husband have been doing the sniff, sniff, exhale, so we can anchor it in. Okay, guys, lots of love. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.